Hi, it's Patrick Cranston of Cranston IT with your Bionic Business Vlog. And today I'm talking about a subject that we get a lot of questions from our customers, and I also get questions from a little closer to home, primarily my family members, on why the iPhone battery does not last as long as they would expect it to. And this is a common occurrence with mobile devices. We're using them all day long. We have them with us all the time, and the batteries are always getting less unless we have them plugged in. So Apple, though, in iOS 12 has given us some great tools on how to help you manage your battery life and also check the health of your battery and see what might be causing excessive battery usage. So I have my iPhone up here on the screen today, and we're going to take a look at these new settings, and I'm going to walk you through them. So on my iPhone, if I scroll down here, I'm in the Settings app. I'm going to scroll down and look at the battery. Settings, and this is going to load here, and you'll see there's a lot of different information. Now, just to let you know, this is running iOS 12, so if you're running a phone earlier than iOS 12, you won't see these settings. So this is something new in iOS 12. In the Settings app, we're first going to look at battery health. So I'm going to tap on battery health, and this is going to pull up an additional screen and show me some more information. And the first thing here I was looking at is the maximum capacity. Now this is a test that the phone runs on the battery to see if it's able to hold the full amount of charge that it did when it was new. This is a fairly new iPhone 10, so the battery is still able to hold a full charge, and so the maximum capacity is listed as 100%. Now Apple rates their batteries so that they will last about 500 charge cycles, and they say that with 500 charge cycles, you still should be getting about 80% of your maximum battery capacity. Now, a charge cycle is defined as draining the battery all the way down and then charging it all the way back up. That equals one charge cycle. So if you are using your phone and you let it charge halfway down and you charge it back up again, that's 50% or half a charge cycle. If you let it drain 50% and then only charge it to 75%, that's a quarter charge cycle. So there's no penalty for keeping your phone charged or plugging it in whenever you're close to a power source. That 500 charge cycles is cumulative, so you don't have to worry about letting the phone drain all the way down before charging it. But over time, the phone will start to wear out. The battery will start to wear out, and that's considered normal. And once you notice the battery getting below 80% of maximum capacity, that's time to be looking at possibly replacing the battery in your existing phone, or if your phone is older, maybe upgrading to a new phone. The peak performance capability is another diagnostic test that the phone is running on the battery. And if the phone sees that the phone powers off unexpectedly when running on battery, that's an indication that the battery is having a problem. And older batteries will tend to do this. If an older battery suddenly gets a heavy load put on it from the processor or graphics card in the device, then the battery may not be able to supply enough power to the phone, and that phone will just simply power off. If the phone detects unexpected power offs, it will turn on or turn off peak performance. And what this means is that your phone may run a little bit slower when using processor-intensive apps like the camera or videos, video players, or games. And what Apple has decided is that you'd rather have a phone that functions maybe not quite as well, but still stays on, than a phone that's simply going to power off if the processor tries to pull too much power from the battery at any one time. Once again, if you check this and you see that peak performance capability is turned off, that indicates that your battery is not in a healthy state, it's worn out or possibly defective, and it's a good time to visit your Apple store and look at getting that battery replaced. Now, going back into the battery settings here, we're down below battery health. You also see here it gives you two options to view the battery levels or battery usage over the last 24 hours and battery usage over the last 10 days. And this is nice because this gives you an indication of what apps are using the most battery. Now you can see in my settings here this is over the last 24 hours, the app that's used the most battery life is the YouTube app. And of all the battery life that I've used over the last 24 hours, YouTube has used 20% of that. Now, if I tap on the YouTube app, you'll see it's going to give me some additional information, and it's going to tell me how much time the app was actually on screen. So YouTube was using battery when I was watching it, and I watched 44 minutes of YouTube over the last 24 hours. You can also see I used Safari for 32 minutes. You can see that podcasts, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and you can see that I had the podcast app on screen for 5 minutes, but it was running in the background for 1 hour and 41 minutes while I was listening to podcasts when the screen was either turned off or I was using other apps. So that shows you, that kind of gives you an idea of what apps you're using and what apps are consuming battery. Now, this is just good general information to know, but this can also indicate a problem. If there's an app that you haven't used very much at all, but it's consuming a large amount of your battery, then that can indicate that that app maybe has a problem, isn't good at battery conservation, and maybe you don't want to use that app as much or use that app when you're running on battery power. Up at the top, there is also a low power mode setting. And what low power mode does is that allows you to temporarily reduce the background activity to save your power. So this is if you're going to be away from your charger for an extended period of time, or your app or your battery is getting low and you know you're not going to be able to plug in soon, you can turn on low power mode. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And when you turn on low power mode, it's going to keep apps from running in the background and from things like mail from automatically fetching new mail for you. And it's going to, certain things in the phone itself and the operating system, some visual effects and things like that take a little bit more battery power. It's going to turn those off while low power mode is enabled. And this is really so that you can get the maximum amount out of your battery until you can get it plugged back in and charging again. You'll notice too up in the top right hand corner that your battery turns to a yellow symbol when low power mode is enabled, kind of to remind you that low power mode is off or is on. So the final thing I'm going to show you, which is really good for preserving your battery life, is I'm going to swipe down here and bring up the control center, and you'll notice I have my screen brightness set to about 50%. If you keep your screen brightness all the way up at 100%, you're going to chew through your battery much more quickly than if you keep your screen brightness down around 50%. The other thing you can do is you can enable automatic screen brightness in your display settings. And what that will do is the phone will automatically adjust the display brightness based on where you are. So if you're inside and it's a little darker, the screen will automatically dim. If you're outside and it's brighter, the screen will automatically get brighter. So you can kind of let the phone manage your screen brightness, which will help maximize your battery life. And you can always make sure that your default brightness is set to about 50%, which will greatly increase the life of your battery. If you found this video helpful, please like and share it in your social media channels. If you have a question or comment, please post a comment in the comment section or send your questions to ask@cranstonit.com, and I'll try to answer it in a future video.